Hey everybody, this is Britton Turner with Dream Escape Vacations,
And I'm Melissa Turner.
and welcome to Take the Trip podcast. This is our first episode, so I'd like to give you guys a little bit of background about how we started and a little bit about us. So, we started Dream Escape Vacations after our 15-year anniversary trip to Greece. We had hired a travel agent and had probably planned about 90% of the trip prior to contacting the agent. We just had some excursions that we didn't know, like what the best excursions, what the best boat trips, the best day trips would be to go on during our time in Greece. So we hired a travel agent, and I found out at that time that a lot of travel agents had like a flat fee. At least the agent that we hired had a flat fee to handle our trip. And I started thinking about, I had done 90% of the legwork and there was a flat fee associated, and I didn't mind paying the fee, but I felt like, I could do travel planning and I could charge for half of the trip or, the entire trip or, basically piece together a trip for somebody and charge them like a daily fee to do that instead of charging them just a flat fee, even though they might have already handled airfare or maybe they have Sky Miles or whatever that they may want to use. So I started Dream Escape Vacation shortly after we got back from that trip. And basically, we do free travel planning if it's something that's like an all inclusive or Disney or something that's, cruise line. But then we do daily travel planning for $50 a day. And so that's kind of something that I think is different than a lot of travel agencies around are doing. And so we've had really good success in the last couple of years with it and appreciate everybody's, continued business. And recently I was listening to a clip that a friend of mine had posted on Facebook. It was a clip of Joe Rogan's podcast just talking about how he felt like podcasting was really kind of a new generation was kind of sprouting up for podcasting and was really just encouraging listeners to start their own podcast in their own community. So I got to thinking about it and I thought this would be a great idea to just interview clients who have taken trips and talk about what they enjoyed and just share with our community. So anyway, recently we did a poll with our email subscribers and asked what are the top 3 things that you would like to see in our ongoing newsletter. And I'd like to incorporate it as well in this podcast. The top 3 things were destination recommendations, airline news, and travel deals. And so I think I'd like to talk about your recent trip to New York City. But before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about those 3 things that, we know that you would like to hear about and see. And so the first thing would be a travel recommendation, destination recommendation. And I think right now, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of interest in is Costa Rica. We've done several honeymoons, summer trips to Costa Rica. We've actually got another honeymoon coming up next month to Costa Rica. So I would say Costa Rica is kind of a hot spot right now. And so certainly check out Costa Rica if you're looking for a destination recommendation. On the airline news front, recently Alaskan Airlines purchased Hawaiian Airlines. And last week they announced their new travel rewards platform or program. It's called Atmos. And so there's going to be a lot of news coming up out about that over the next few weeks. So we'll include that in our newsletter. The third thing is travel deals. And so we've been seeing a lot of airfare deals to Canada the last few weeks. It's early September, so it's kind of the end of the season for the Canadian Rockies, Banff, Calgary, Vancouver. We just had a client get back from Vancouver just about a week ago, and they said the weather was beautiful, this time of year out there. So it's kind of going into that shoulder season for those folks up there. So we are seeing some great airfare deals. I sent one out last week in the email subscriber list to Banff or to Calgary, which is about an hour from Banff. And we've got another one coming that'll be in the newsletter today for Vancouver that I just got this morning. So if you're interested in going to the Canadian Rockies or British Columbia, Alberta, those areas of Canada, we are seeing some great airfare deals out of Atlanta. A lot of our airfare deals that we find are out of Atlanta because we're based in Georgia. So we get a lot of alerts to Atlanta, but we monitor other airports as well. So if we find a good deal from other airports, we'll send them your way if you sign up for our email newsletter. But those are a few things that I wanted to throw in this first episode that are currently going on. And then I'd like to just dive right into your trip you took with Lakin, our daughter, for her 10th birthday, and just ask you how the trip went. Just give us some highlights. And I think I wanted to start about JetBlue. Y'all flew JetBlue, which we've never flown JetBlue before. We booked clients on JetBlue, but had never flown on JetBlue. So just tell us about your experience flying up to New York, flying JetBlue, and then kind of some highlights about the trip.
Well, usually I am just the passenger. So he plans it and I just am there for the ride. But this time I was in charge since it was just my daughter and I for her 10th birthday, since the guys went on a fishing trip. So we went to New York City because that's where she has always wanted to go. And I thought that would be a nice, fun Labor Day weekend trip with her. So I told him to plan all things girly. So our New York City trip was girly. And we had the Wanderlog app, which he creates a Wanderlog for every client that he books a trip for. And that was so helpful to me. I was able to download JetBlue and download their app, go ahead and have everything ready, checked in online. It was so easy. We'd never been on JetBlue before, but we had a really, really good experience with them. We got lucky and we got the Mario airplane. So my daughter thought that was really cool. They had Mario on the little TV screens, and the plane is painted with Mario. The food, we had, the Biscoff cookies. They had Dunkin' Donuts coffee on board. They had a lot of onboard entertainment on the seat back. A lot of movies to choose from. I would say there was more legroom on that flight in coach than we're used to having on other airlines. So that was nice. The crew was fantastic. We just had a really good experience with them. So that was a good way to start the trip. It was a fun flight, and it was just helpful to have that all in the Wanderlog too, that I was able to just pull up and have everything right there at my fingertips and then have to search emails for anything. It was easy.
What about when you got to JFK? So I was a little bit concerned about, JFK is such a huge airport, and I think there's 7 or 8 terminals, or at least they're numbered up to 8, but I think it's 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. I'm not really sure how they numbered the terminals, but there's several terminals. And so once you got to New York, I had a map of the air train from JFK to the subway.
So he had put exactly what we needed to do when we landed. We made it to the air train, which was a little bit of a walk from our gate. So we had to make it all the way to the air train. But once we got there, we were able to get on the air train, made it to the subway. The Wanderlog app he'd mapped out every single subway detail, which line to get on, which stop to get off, where to go, once we got to the destination. So we basically just took that subway from the air train it was a couple of blocks from our hotel that we stayed at. It was right off Times Square. So.
And once you got to the airport, so did you have to transfer? I was thinking there was going to be a transfer of the train. It wasn't like a nonstop train. Did you have to transfer trains somewhere along the way before you got to
We
Bryant
did
Park?
transfer. Yeah. So we did transfer, which was easy.
Yeah.
It was.
And talk a little bit about, because I haven't actually been to New York City since, I think the last time that I was in New York City, they still had the Metro or the MTA card where you basically bought the card in a vending machine, but now it's all just
That's still an option.
Okay.
They still had those, but it's tap and go with a credit card or your phone. Most people were just using their phones and they just tap and go. Really, once you get up to the gate to get on through to the subway, you just tap your phone or your credit card. There were 2 of us, and my daughter's 10, so she didn't have her own phone or anything like that. So I just had 2 tap credit cards that I had in my bag. And so we would just use both of those. I would just do one for each of us just to make it easy and not throw the credit card off, with
Yeah.
2 back-to-back charges like that. So
Yeah, the way I understand it is that each person needs their own card because they have a maximum daily consumption where if you hit 5 subways in a day and you're at the $12 a day limit or whatever that limit is, there's some daily limit that if you were to use your card back to back, it would like not allow it because it thinks you're just trying to, you're sharing the card. So it's better to have a card for every person. So that worked out fine to just have 2 cards.
it was very easy.
And I had booked you at the Hyatt Centric Times Square. And I know y'all had an early flight. It was like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
flight. And so what time did you get from the time you landed till you got there? Was probably like what, 45 minutes or an hour maybe?
Yeah, it was maybe an hour. We weren't in a rush either. So we kind of took our time. It took about an hour. We ended up getting to the hotel. It was right around 11. So we got to the hotel, room was not ready, but they were able to hold all of our bags for us. And then they did end up sending a text around 3 o'clock saying we could come check in. But the hotel itself was wonderful. My daughter had on a birthday shirt. They made her an extra bouquet of balloons. They also he had put that it was her birthday in the notes when he reserved the room. So they had a little balloon set up in the room, but then they also gave her another whole like big bundle of balloons. So she was excited about that. But they were very, very nice there. And so I have no complaints about that hotel. And the location was amazing. I mean, it was right there, not facing Times Square, but it was, I guess, not a block. It wasn't
a block, maybe one block off of Times Square. So once y'all dropped your bags at the hotel and y'all went to lunch, or where'd you head from the hotel?
After we dropped our luggage off, we ended up going to Serendipity 3, which is a really fun, colorful, I would say girly little restaurant right near Times Square. It was really good. They have all kinds of frozen hot chocolates to choose from, which we ended up doing the birthday cake version for her because that's what she wanted. But if you have kids or if you just want a really fun lunch or dinner spot, that one was really good. We really enjoyed that. And then from there, we went over to the American Girl store, which was kind of why we went to New York City, because she loves American Girl dolls. So we went over there, and that was a really good experience also.
So after American Girl, did y'all go to Rockefeller?
We did.
We went to Rockefeller, and we didn't book all the excursions because we didn't quite know timeline, how long y'all were going to spend at American Girl. And so we didn't book times for the excursions, but I knew y'all were going to do Top of the Rock. So
yeah. So we walked from American Girl over to Rockefeller Center, and we had not already bought tickets to go to Top of the Rock. So there was a kiosk outside of the building, kind of on the street right there. And we just went up. There was the nicest man. Lakin started talking to him. He asked her if it was her birthday. She had the shirt on, and he ended up not charging for her, which, so that saved us a good bit of money by her getting him for free. So he gave her one of the free children's tickets. And we actually upgraded. So they have a new part at the top of the rock where it's like a little, I don't know if it's a needle. It's like a 3-tiered observatory that rises. So once you get to the top of the Rockefeller Center, you can stand on that, and then it takes you higher. I think it was an extra $35 per person, but she wanted to do that, and we had a lot of fun with it. So we had a good experience there.
So after Rockefeller Center, did y'all go back to the hotel then?
After Rockefeller Center, we went back to Times Square, which was near the hotel, and we went to Disney store and the M&M store and the Hershey store and all the fun things to do. So we went to those, and then we ended up I wanted, so that night we actually just went to a street vendor. She needed a break. So we didn't want to go, I didn't want to take her out to eat because we had tickets to see The Lion King on Broadway at 8 o'clock. So we just got some street food and then went back to the hotel, rested for a little bit, freshened up, and then we walked over to The Lion King, which was only a block away from our hotel. So it was right there, very easy to get to. And we didn't, I did buy those tickets before the trip, but I ended up doing one of the lotteries that you can do online. It was through
Broadway Direct.
Broadway Direct. I bid on Lion King and Aladdin, and we got chosen for tickets for Lion King. So they ended up being about half price. Our seats were in the mezzanine.
So not on the main level,
Yeah.
not on the upper, but in the middle tier,
Oh, it was upper.
upper tier.
Yeah. So, but they were great seats. I mean, we had a great view. And like I said, they were about half price. So it was definitely worth it. You don't necessarily get chosen to get those. So you can do, if you wanted to do that, you can kind of pick different shows, different times. They open up the day before the shows. So you can get on and say, I think it's at 9 a.m. I could get on and pick which show for the next day I wanted to go to. And then they'll send you an email around 3 p.m. saying whether you were chosen or not. And then you have an hour to pay if you end up wanting those tickets.
So how was The Lion King?
It was amazing. We've seen The Lion King at the Fox Theater here in Atlanta, and it was great, but it was nothing compared to in New York City on Broadway.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So the next day, what did y'all do the next day?
So the next day we got up and we went and ate at Ellen's showcase. Ellen's Stardust Diner. And there was a line for that the whole time we were there. Every time we walked by it, there was a long line, but it didn't take long at all. We actually got picked because they were looking for a party of 2. So we kind of got to skip most of the line anyway. So we went in, we waited for maybe 5 minutes. We both had a really good time in there. The singers in there, obviously their goal is to make it to Broadway. They're fantastic. And you can request songs and they sing and it's just great entertainment. We went for breakfast. So we got pancakes. They were great. We didn't go for dinner. So I don't know how that food is, but breakfast was really good.
And after Ellen's, I'm pretty sure I had put you guys jumping on the train right there at 50th Street, which was like almost across the street from Ellen's, right? To go down to Lower Manhattan from there.
Yep. So we walked right to the subway, got on, went to Lower Manhattan, Staten Island area. We just did the carousel there, the one with the little glowing fish. She loved that. That was very cute. It would be very pretty at nighttime, but I kind of wanted to be back up near our area at night. So we weren't, on the subway, I wanted to be back. So we went ahead and did that during the day and it was fun. It was $6 a person to ride the carousel, which I don't think was terrible. And it is right there by the Staten Island Ferry. So if you were to do the ferry, it's right there by the entrance where you go through to get on the boat. And
so did y'all see the Statue of Liberty? Was that right near that area?
You can see the Statue of Liberty from right by the carousel.
Yeah.
So you can see it. We didn't do the ferry. We didn't go out on the water to, see it up close, but we could see it from the park right there in the carousel area.
So from there, did y'all get back on the subway to go up to like the World Trade Center area?
Yep. So we got back on the subway, which was super easy. Got off at the World Trade Center, which I didn't realize because last time we went, it's been a long time, but they have the mall area that you get off of the subway and you're kind of in the middle of a mall. So that was actually really nice. I didn't know that we were going to end up there. So they have all kinds of shops and just, I mean, it's just a nice, clean area. So we walked around in there for a little bit, and then we walked out, went to see, we saw the fountains. We did not pay. We didn't go into the museum. I wasn't sure if she was ready for that, but I would like to go back and do that next time we go, and maybe take the boys with us too. So
Yeah. So y'all walked around they call it the reflection.
yeah,
Y'all walked around that for a
yeah,
minute, and then
yeah. We just walked around, talked a little bit about 9/11 at the memorials and all of that. We did peek into part of the museum where you could see the steel beams and all, that area of it. But like I said, we didn't go inside. So
and then from there, where did y'all go from the World Trade Center? Did y'all get back on the subway?
we did trying to remember where
I feel like y'all were gonna go to the ice cream museum.
we
after
did.
that.
That's what we did. After we left World Trade Center, we went to the ice cream museum. I had not pre-purchased tickets for that just because you pick a time, and I wasn't sure exactly what time we would be over there. So we did. They have a little waiting area out on the sidewalk for if you're purchasing tickets online, and then once you buy them online, fill out the waivers and all that, then they'll take you to the front, and then you can go in. Um, it was kind of pricey, but it was worth it. She had a blast. That topped her list of things we did. So, and it lasted a while. Like it took us about 2 hours. They said an hour and a half to 2 hours. It just depends on, I guess, how long you want to spend in each area. But she really enjoyed it. We ate some really good ice cream in there. It's colorful. It's pink. There's different rooms with different activities. There's the last room was a pool of sprinkles that we spent a long time there.
So the ice cream museum it's kind of at the edge of the Soho, Little Italy. Like it's not far, right, from
Mhm.
like Rice to Riches and Lombardi's in that whole area.
Yeah. So
Maybe 5 minutes.
we walked probably 5 minutes from the Museum of Ice Cream over to Lombardi's. So we actually were gonna. He had planned in the notes in Wonderlog. He had put for us to eat at a different pizza place. It was called.
Was it John's?
No.
Not John's. That's a different one. She can pull it up.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah, there was a pizza there. So we've gone to New York 3 or 4 times, and we've always gone to Lombardi's. I'm not sure how accurate the history is, but I always was under the impression that Lombardi's was the original or the
They
first,
advertise as being
the original
pizzeria in America.
Yeah, in New York, like the first
I
pizzeria.
said in America.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the US. Yeah, so we've always gone to Lombardi's, and right across the street from Lombardi's is Rice to Riches. And I'll be flat honest, I'm not a huge rice pudding, or I'll say this, before I ate Rice to Riches, I never cared to even try rice pudding. It just didn't even sound good to me. But they have amazing rice pudding. If you're ever in New York City, I do highly recommend a quick trip to Soho, Little Italy, to that area to get some rice pudding.
You took it off.
And so, yeah, I think I was trying to clean it up on Wonderlog. I will say this while we're looking at Wonderlog, it's an interactive application. So I pay for a pro account, and I can do attachments. I can make it where your trip can be downloaded offline. So if you're ever somewhere like a subway where you don't have cellular signal or Wi-Fi, you can get all your itinerary offline. So that's one of the things I do for every client for any trip that we plan. But I know that you were saying that you were going to go to Lombardi's, or I think we talked afterwards that you went to Lombardi's instead of, it's not John's Obliquer, but it's another Prince Street Pizza, maybe?
Yeah, I think that
I
might
think
have
it
been
was
it.
Prince Street.
It looked phenomenal, but the line was wrapped 2 blocks down the road. So we bypassed it, and we ended up at Lombardi's, which Lombardi's is cash only, but they do have an ATM in there. So
Yeah, that's right. You told me that. I had forgotten that. It had been so many
yeah,
years.
so I did have cash, so it was fine, but it is cash only. And then we walked across the street afterwards and ate at Rice to Riches, which is one of my favorites. And
Yeah.
and Lakin really liked it. So that was good. She'd never had that before, obviously.
So after that, where did y'all head from Little Italy area? Did y'all go
We
back?
we ended up just heading back to we got back on the subway and went back to the hotel at that point. And so it was kind of an early night. We didn't stay out late because we ended up our flight the next day home was not until almost 1 o'clock. So she really Lakin loves the park. And we did stop at a few playgrounds, sporadically along the way that we saw. There was one near Rice to Riches. It was just a little playground that we stopped at. But she wanted to go to Central Park. So we ended up going to bed early the night before. And then we got up early the next day, the day that we came home. And we went over to Central Park first. I would love to go back and do all of Central Park because obviously we kind of just hit that corner.
Right by the Plaza Hotel.
Yeah. And she played on the playground. We walked a little bit of the walking paths, and it's just beautiful. So next time we go, I do want to see the whole of Central Park. Maybe eat at Tavern on the Green or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think when we go back, we'll take the boys and we'll do
yeah.
Statue of Liberty. I've actually never done Statue of Liberty, the actual tour. You can go up into the crown if you book your tickets far enough in advance, which is something we've run into with clients where, we want to book it. And if we don't get them at least 30 days, sometimes in summertime, 60 days prior to, you may not be able to get tickets up to the top of the Statue of Liberty. You may be able to do what they call the pedestal. So you have like a general admission ticket that will get you onto the island for the Statue of Liberty. Then you can get an upgraded ticket with the pedestal that gets you up, I don't know how many feet, 50 feet off the ground on the pedestal. And then the third ticket or the premium ticket that gets you to the crown is the most popular ticket. So we'll go back and we'll do that with the boys, and we'll do the World Trade Center. I've never done that tour of the World Trade Center Museum. I really want to do that. And so we'll definitely do that.
We'll have to make another trip. But this was just a quick weekend girls trip, and it was perfect.
Yeah,
so
good.
And then after Central Park, we ended up we came home through JFK on set.
No, y'all flew into JFK. You came back through LaGuardia.
LaGuardia. So we came home from LaGuardia on Southwest, and we took the subway from Central Park to get on the bus because the subway does not go all the way to LaGuardia. So we took the bus to the airport from there. And that was very easy. There's signs everywhere. You couldn't miss it. LaGuardia has been remodeled since we've been there, and it was very nice. I will say it was definitely my favorite airport that we visited over the weekend. And the Southwest flight was great. I think there's an age on Southwest where you can board as a family. I'm not quite sure what it is, but they did say that we could board with families since it was, just the two of us. So, but the flight home was great. Really, I had the trip was amazing.
Yeah.
So
I will say, thinking about airline news, Southwest is about to make a change. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but basically just consider it January of 2026. Southwest is doing away with the pick your seat when you get on the plane. So that is something, just for everybody listening to know that if you book a Southwest flight after the first of the year, we may have to pick seats. Or I think they're moving to a tiered structure, kind of like Delta and everybody else, where basic ticket, you don't pick your seat. They just assign you a seat when you get to the gate. Or the next tier includes you picking a seat. And they're actually going to they're taking out a row or two of seats on the Southwest planes. And this will probably take a year or more, but they're going to take a couple of rows out in the first 4 or 5 rows. They're going to stretch, kind of like the Delta Comfort Plus, where you get a few extra inches of leg room. So those are some changes coming to Southwest that I'm not personally thrilled about. It's all about profit. And I know that the shareholders in Southwest recently were like, hey, we need to be more profitable. What can we do? And this is what they've come up with is they're going to stop doing free bags with every ticket. I think if you get the higher end ticket, it will include a bag or two. Again, don't quote me exactly. It's tiered, so the higher to go, the more you get. And so they're doing away with that boarding zone A, boarding zone B, boarding zone C. So just be aware that that's coming in 2026. And so, but yeah, I've always enjoyed Southwest. I always like their open seating. And we don't normally, after we did Europe this summer, we don't normally check bags anymore.
No.
It's just so much easier to travel with a backpack, we found. So we try to do that when we can. I'm glad y'all had a great trip. We're actually going to be traveling next Friday to the Dominican Republic. I've never been to the Dominican Republic.
I haven't either.
And so we're going to be going to Secrets Cap Cana. I'm really excited about that. And
Excited.
and we're going to be celebrating 18 years. So really excited about that. But with the start of this podcast, my goal, I don't want to have a set timeline for releasing episodes, but I do want to try to do one every 2 to 3 weeks. So I think after we get back from the Dominican, we'll talk about our trip to Cap Cana and Punta Cana. So we're actually splitting the trip. We're going to stay at Cap Cana for a few nights and then go over to Dreams Onyx, which Dreams is so Dreams and Secrets is kind of like the Secrets is the adults only, 18 and older, and the Dreams is the family friendly. And so I wanted to spend some time at the adults only and then go to the family friendly so we can see the water park. And we're actually going to be staying in they have an adults only pool, like it's in a preferred area that's it's a preferred pool with it's an 18 and older pool. So even though we're in the Dreams Resort, we'll be kind of like in the adult area of the Dreams Resort. So really looking forward to that. So we'll certainly do a podcast about the Dominican when we get back from that. But anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.
All right.
Have a good one.